Hi guys, this is Erica from Gokce Capital.
Now before I begin, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications. In 1865, Huff, the superintendent of the New York State Census, made a stunning discovery. In the state of seemingly endless forests, timber availability was in decline. 5 years later, data from the National Census confirmed Huff's discovery, not only in New York, but across the United States. For much of the 1800s, the natural world was viewed as a God-given gift, put on earth purely for mankind to exploit. It was assumed that the richness of this gift could never be depleted. Yet everywhere, the natural world was in dramatic decline. By 1870, it was no longer possible to ignore that America's forests were rapidly disappearing. But no one wanted to see this. So Huff sounded the alarm. He made it his life's work to preserve the nation's forests. And I'll tell you the result of his crusade at the end of this video. But we cannot talk about forests without acknowledging that, for all that many of our nation's forests are so beloved for their recreational benefits, the vast majority of U.S. forest land is used for timber. But regardless of whether we are talking about timberland or recreational land, to adequately care for and protect the long-term health of a forest, forest managers need metrics that help them determine the health and long-term productivity of the forest under their care. And one of these metrics is the site index. So if you are looking at forest property, or are already an owner of such, then this is a metric that you will want to be familiar with. And in today's video, we'll go over the top things you should know. Number 1. A site index is a forestry term used to describe the potential for forest trees to grow at a particular location or site. Based on the site index, foresters can then make decisions about which species to grow and how intensely to manage those trees. Number 2. A site index is the average total height of a particular species of tree in a forest stand at a given age. So a site index only measures one species of tree. Furthermore, a site index is always described at a certain base age. In natural stands, this is usually age 50, and in planted stands, it is age 25. Let's look at an example. Say you have a planted loblolly pine stand with a site index of 65. Because it's a planted stand, the base age is 25. Therefore, this site index is indicating that the average height of a loblolly pine in the stand at age 25 will be 65 feet. Number 3. Forestry professionals produce site index curves, which will allow you to determine the site index of your particular site, or estimate your stand's potential future income. The site index curves are again developed by industry professionals, and they are based on the heights of different aged trees of the same species from study areas throughout an entire region. Here is a sample site index curve for loblolly pines. You can see here that there are various curves already drawn on the graph. The x-axis is the age, and the y-axis is the height. You can use these curves to get the site index for a stand that you are looking at. Say, for example, you are looking at a stand of loblolly pine where the bulk of the dominant trees are 15 years old. You measure all the trees and get an average height of around 30 feet. When you plot this point out, you will see it intersects with this curve, which corresponds to a site index of 40. Having this site index means that you can compare this potential stand to others. You'll see that it is a fairly low site index. And you can also project future revenue by determining what the average height of the trees are projected to be at the age of harvest. Number 4. You can also use site indices to determine which trees to plant on your property. And the USDA's Web Soil Survey can be very helpful in doing this comparison. So let's take a quick look at the USDA Web Soil Survey. I just searched for a particular location using the latitude and longitude. Then draw out your area of interest. In the Soil Data Explorer, look at vegetative productivity and tree site index. Once here, you can get data on various tree types. So, for example, the northern red oak has a site index of 70 on the bulk of the site and 62 on about 20%. In this way, you can compare different tree types and their productive capacity on your land. But there are a limited number of trees here, so you will also want to complement this data source with site indices for various species that are produced by professional associations in your region. But let's return to Huff. After studying 15 years' worth of census trends, Huff set to work changing the culture. In August of 1873, Huff presented a paper on the duty of governments to protect and preserve the nation's forests at the annual meeting of the American Association for the Advancement of Science. So impressed was the association that they petitioned Congress to fund a position to study the health of the nation's forests. Congress approved the position, and can you guess who was hired? Huff, of course. Huff then spent 5 years gathering data from across the country, and his resulting 650-page report so impressed the Secretary of Agriculture that the printing of over 25,000 copies was authorized, and a new governmental agency, the U.S. Division of Forestry, was created. But Huff's recommendation to cease all further sale of federal forest land went unheeded. Though Huff eventually passed away in 1885, his work had spurred the creation of a tribe of American forest lovers. And only a few years later, in 1891, the Forest Reserve Act was approved by Congress, allowing the creation of national forests. These forests were reserved for public use in perpetuity, and today there are over 188 million acres of protected national forests. Now, do you have a particular forest that you love? Let us know in the comments. Did you like this video? You're going to love our Gokce Land Due Diligence program. We'll make you a land due diligence expert in just 7 days. Check it out at gokcecapital.com/glad. And while you're at our website, don't forget to explore our $1 down properties at gokcecapital.com/listings. Finally, don't hesitate to reach out with any questions. You can email, call, or text, and we will respond as soon as possible. So thank you for listening, and more to come.